It's obvious that the number 9 threw the plane, but all the classmates blame the number 0. The teacher knows the truth, but she's still angry at the number 0, because in this world, amniotic fluid is the biggest dividing line in life. The bigger the number in front of you, the higher your status. The number 9 is the most important person in the world. The number 7 is a law enforcement officer. The smaller the number, the lower the status. And a boy is the smallest and most special 0, although he shares a classroom with other numbers. But everyone in the classroom was free to bully him. He tried to sue the teacher, but the first lesson she taught him was how to differentiate between the 3, 6, 9 classes of people. And as a 0, he was the lowest of the low. He was the butt of everyone's jokes. So when the number 9 interrupted the teacher's class, even though the teacher knew the truth, he was still punished. During recess, 7, 8 and 9 were jumping rope together. 4, 5 and 6 play on the slide together. He was the only one left out. He could only look on in envy. But then the number 8 students invited him to join them. The boy happily rushed up and played rope skipping with them, but he didn't notice the evil smiles on the faces of the other numbers. In the end, he was tied to the rope and hung upside down from the tree. The cleaner from number 1 passes by. The boy begged him for help, but when he saw the big 0 on his body, he didn't want to get involved. But the boy remained optimistic and always smiled. A few years later, the boy graduated. When he saw his kind begging on the side of the road, he thought they were beggars because they didn't work hard enough. He decided to find a good job and make his own way in the world. But every time he didn't get a job, he'd get beaten up by the shopkeeper, and then he'd be thrown a small coin as if he were a beggar. But he optimistically picked up the coin and gave it to the number 0 who was begging beside him. But after many beatings by the society, he finally accepted his humble status. When he was hungry, he dug into the rubbish bin to find food. When he was sleepy, he slept in a damp corner. But that day he happened to see a group of big numbers bullying a small number girl. He tried to do something about it, but all he got in return was a severe beating. It was only when the big numbers left that the girl dared to drag the injured boy into the corner. When the boy woke up, he found his head wound bandaged, and sitting next to him was the girl he'd saved last night. So the two fell in love. But every time someone passed by, the girl would let go of his hand and pretend to be a stranger, because the world won't allow two people to fall in love. But as time passed, their feelings grew deeper and deeper. They often went on secret dates in the wild, seeing other numbers in love in the open. The boy could no longer resist picking a flower and expressing his feelings to the girl. At this moment, they both forgot their status as 0s. For the first time, they felt happy in this world. But paper can't hold fire after all. Two law enforcers appeared out of nowhere and forcibly separated them. They put the boy in a dark dungeon, with only a small window to see the outside world. To ease his longing for the girl, he carved her figure on the wall. I don't know how long it took. A familiar flower was suddenly thrown in through the window. Through the barred window, the boy saw the girl he had longed for, but now she was pregnant. All the numbers were pointing at her. All the figures were pointing their fingers at her. The boy could only bow his head in sadness. Suddenly the girl fell to the ground. She was about to give birth. The boy was nervous, but the people around him didn't do anything. Even the nurses, who were there to help, didn't want to help. In the midst of his despair and anger, a miracle happened. All the figures showed unbelievable expressions and worshipped the girl. Before the boy could react, the cell door opened and the girl entered the dungeon with her children. The two children in her arms had an infinity on their bodies, the biggest and most honorable numbers people had ever seen. At this moment the boy remembered when he was first born. His own mother looked at him in despair, and finally had the nurse throw him out. But now he knew that his fate was about to change forever. Although everyone is born the same, but not everyone is equal. But please believe that we can make miracles on our own.